In one of the best venues in sports, as the NFL and the Saints are ready to show us that you can go home again.
Get it for this city! Get it for each other! Let's go!
Stepping into the Dome, September 25th, 2006, Monday Night Football against the Falcons, two undefeated teams. We knew that there was no doubt we're going to win that game. And it all started with Steve Gleason's block punt.
3 and out for the Falcons and Vic. Here's Kane in the pipe.
And all of a sudden, you feel like a shotgun blast goes off. And that's the sound of the ball hitting Steve Gleason's hand on the block.
It's rolling inside the 5, and it is going to be covered by the Saints for a touchdown. Oh, baby!
The entire city went absolutely ape.
What a moment. Just listen to this crowd.
Steve Gleason got the block.
Well, the block punt has given New Orleans even more momentum than they had.
You could see the hearts of the people of New Orleans just leap. And you know what? We never have ever looked back.
It was a big step in a long road to recovery, and it was bigger than football.
He will be an icon forever in the city of New Orleans, and Steve deserves that.
Gleason got the block.
Steve Gleason played 7 seasons with the Saints, and he cemented his bond with the city when he married New Orleans native Michelle Varisco in 2008.
Steve played a little hard to get when you first met, didn't he?
He's just very disciplined, and so I'd have to make the first moves a lot with everything. And so I tried to make the first moves a couple times and got denied.
I was cautious because we were good friends, which I think is the best way for a relationship to start.
In the summer of 2010, married just 2 years, Gleason began experiencing unusual twitching in his shoulders and chest. Doctors were unable to pinpoint the cause until last January. The final diagnosis? Steve Gleason had ALS.
What was the first thought that went through your mind?
Well, how many times have you been wrong? And,
what did he say?
Not many.
I think I put it, you know, okay, that's the diagnosis, but this is going to happen in a long time, or this might not actually happen. His body's so strong, I think, you know, this might be a mistake.
Dr. Miller, what is ALS?
ALS is Lou Gehrig's disease, named after the famous player who suffered from it, and it stands for a deterioration of motor nerve cells, which results in a weakening of the muscles and a progressive paralysis that robs a person of their mobility, their strength, their functionality.
At the time, all I knew about ALS was that there is no cure, that it is taken a lot of people. And you start thinking about, of all the people in this world, why Steve?
A study suggests that there is a direct link between football and ALS. Do you believe that?
Trauma may well be important. Head injury is bad, there's no question about it. But having seen thousands of patients with ALS, the number of patients that I've seen who are anything like Steve Gleason or other people with that amount of head trauma have been extremely small. But it is probably important. We know that injury is bad for the brain. You gotta take care of your brain.
Man, they just told me. I didn't know you had Lou Gehrig's, man.
Yeah, got diagnosed earlier this year.
I didn't know it, though. That's what hurt me so bad.
I wonder, have you given it some thought, whether football contributed or was the cause of your disease?
The percentages of football players who have brain disease, not just ALS, dementia and Alzheimer's disease, depression, anger management. There's a connection between impact sports and brain disease. That's not my opinion. That's a fact.
Despite their uncertain future, Steve and Michelle continued their efforts to have a child. Last October, Michelle gave birth to their son, Rivers. His name, a tribute to Steve's love of nature.
Did you hesitate at all when you thought about conceiving?
No.
Why?
It wasn't a big enough reason not to have a baby with him and have all the beautiful things that having a baby bring to a family and a couple. And that's kind of like letting the illness take over our lives. I mean, we're going to continue doing what we're planning on doing.
We need someone to block a punt tomorrow night.
With support from Peyton, Breeze, and Fujita, Steve launched his own charity, Team Gleason. Its mission, helping those with ALS to find ways to keep meaning and purpose in their lives.
It's my opinion that ALS patients can live a very long time. And I think with the right kind of support and the right kind of equipment, and most importantly with the purpose, more ALS patients will choose to live and make a great impact on the world.
I think if you know Steve, you just knew that this is how he would approach it.
You know, everybody reacts differently to the devastating news of a fatal disease. Everybody goes through a period of shock. Steve and Michelle worked through that shock, and they've come out the other side full of hope and unbelievably thinking about other people. And pretty inspiring.
What's the thing that causes you the most worry or the most pain?
I don't even pray anymore for Steve to have full healing.
Right now, I'm with Claire.
I pray for him to keep his voice because I love hearing his voice. And I want him to talk to me all the time and be able to talk to Rivers. That's when I almost feel like, as positive as we always are, it's as unfair as it is that he loses the control of his body. I mean, to take his voice too, it just doesn't seem fair.
Showing up today, it's one small step towards finding that solution, which we will find.
Have you thought to yourself, how long do I have to live?
Yeah, which is a really good thing to think as a human.
Why?
Because we all have a timeline, Peter. Most of us don't live like we have a timeline.
Steve Gleason is at the game in Indianapolis tonight. With him are Dudley Jordan of Covington, Louisiana, and David Clifford, who is from just outside Indianapolis, each of whom, like Steve, is battling ALS. Gleason helped to arrange their dream trips to the Super Bowl. Members of Steve's